The morning her mother died, June Callahan stood alone in the frostbitten yard, the wind tugging at her dress like it wanted her to run. She didn't cry. Not because she didn't want to, because she'd learned it didn't change a thing. Her mother lay inside the cabin, quiet and still, wrapped in the same faded quilt she'd brought from Arkansas. No prayers were spoken, no bell tolled. Only the low whistle of the wind and the creak of the barn roof spoke for the dead. June was 13. Barefoot and bound after her father died in a harvest accident, a snapped axle and a mule gone wild, the Callahan farm sank into debt. Harlan McCrae, a neighboring rancher with a crooked spine and cruel eyes, swooped in like a vulture. He took the land, the livestock, and everything left breathing, including June and her sick mother. "They'll work the debt off," he told the sheriff. "Room and board in exchange for honest labor." But what he gave wasn't a home, it was a sentence. June's days became dust and blistered palms. Up before the sun, breaking ice. From troughs, shoveling manure, sorting grain. Her mother, already coughing blood, grew weaker with every season. Harlan didn't believe in doctors. "Waste of coin on folk that ain't fixable," he grunted, when her mother's breathing turned shallow. June begged for mercy. Harlan just waved her off. "Ground don't till itself, girl." So June worked through the cold while her mother withered alone. The morning the cough stopped, she was pulling feed sacks from the barn. She dropped them and ran. But it was too late. She dug the grave herself in the southern patch, where the soil was softest, and marked it with a ring of flat stones. No one came to watch, no one cared. Just another shadow gone. By 15, June was tall for a girl, shoulders corded with labor, eyes hard as chipped flint. She'd learned not to speak unless spoken to, not to flinch when Harlan raised his voice or when his son Deke leered too long. Deke had his father's cruelty, but none of his restraint. "Pa says you're getting to be a woman," he'd hiss near the stables, thumb tracing the knife scar on his knuckle. "Reckon I'll take you for myself soon." She never answered. Just kept her hand close to the rusted blade she hid beneath her cot. Hope was something June had buried beside her mother. Until the storm, it rolled in thick and black one spring night, thunder splitting the sky wide open. The cattle spooked, chickens scattered, and then hooves, fast, heavy. A black horse burst through the rain like a myth made flesh, rearing up at the broken fence. Its eyes flashed wild, its mane lashing like fire. It trampled 2 crates and vanished into the hills before anyone could raise a rope. June watched from the hayloft. Breath caught in her throat. Harlan cursed and spat. "That's no ordinary stray," he barked. "That's Mustang blood. Untouched, strong, whoever ropes it gets triple pay." The men tried for days. They laid traps, set up corrals, even brought in a bounty rider. None succeeded. The beast slipped them every time, vanishing like smoke into the red canyons. They called it ghost, but June? She called it something else. Freedom, night. After night she crept beyond the fence, boots silent on pine needles, heart pounding like war drums. And then she saw it alone by the creek, drinking moonlight from still water. Ghost lifted its head, stared straight into her, and didn't run. She took a slow step forward, then another. It didn't move. And June knew, if anything in this cursed world could carry her away from Harlan, from Deke, from that slave-shackled life, it was him. The horse, the wild. Her only chance to run. June waited until the ranch went still, when the last lanterns guttered out and only the coyotes sang across the flats. She moved like smoke, silent and sure, slipping through the fence line with a rope coiled around her shoulder and an apple in her hand. She knew the risk. If Harlan caught her off the property, she'd be whipped. If Deke caught her, worse. But freedom doesn't wait for the timid. She found Ghost again by the low creek bed, where the water ran slow and the cottonwoods whispered. He stood proud and lean, his coat black as burnt coal, eyes sharp and watching. June didn't approach fast, she knew better. "You don't tame wildness by force." For days she returned, never trying to touch him. just sitting nearby, offering scraps apples, corn husks, sweet oats snuck from the stable. She'd talk low and steady, like her mama once did during storms. Asterisk. You ain't meant to wear no rope, she whispered once. And neither am I. Asterisk. The bond grew slowly. A few feet closer each night, a flick of his ear when she spoke. One evening he stepped forward, nostrils flaring at her outstretched palm. When his muzzle brushed her fingers, she barely breathed, asterisked back. At the ranch, things were turning darker. Asterisk. K grew bolder. He drank now, heavy and mean, tossing bottles into the yard, scaring the hens and laughing when June flinched. Harlan noticed, but said nothing. He saw June as a work mule, nothing more. If Deke laid hands on her, Harlan would likely turn. The other way, asterisk. One afternoon, June caught Deke watching her through the barn slats, chewing straw like a dog waiting to pounce. His voice followed her all day. Asterisk. You think I don't see you slinking off at night? He drawled one morning. Where you going, girl? Got a man in the trees waitin'? Asterisk. She said nothing. But that night she didn't go to Ghost, asterisk. Instead, she sat on her cot, clutching the rope and staring into the dark, asterisk. The next morning, Harlan stormed into the yard, red-faced and furious, asterisk. Someone's been stealing oats and cuttin' fence, he shouted. I find out who, I'll string 'em up by their thumbs, asterisk. June kept her head down, heart hammering. Deke just smirked. Her window was closing. That night she went back to the creek, asterisk. Ghost was waiting. This time, when she approached, he didn't flinch. She brushed her hand down his neck, whispering softly. His muscles twitched, but he didn't bolt. She slid the makeshift rope halter over his head and he snorted, pawing the ground. Her pulse thundered in her ears, asterisk. One tug on the rope, and the Mustang followed. The sky split with lightning. Thunder cracked overhead like the earth itself was groaning. Rain came down hard, soaking them both. June grinned through the storm. She led Ghost behind the bluff, to a rock outcropping she'd cleared days before. There, under a jutting shelf, she stashed the halter, a small pouch of supplies, and a stolen canteen. Asterisk. Tomorrow. It had to be tomorrow. Asterisk. Back at the bunkhouse, Deke was waiting. Asterisk. He sat in the shadows, bottle in hand, eyes glazed and full of fire. Asterisk. Thought I told you not to wander. Asterisk. June froze. Her wet boots squelched on the wooden floor. Deke stood stumbling toward her. Asterisk. I'm tired of waiting, June. You're mine now. I don't care and you ain't got no say. She didn't scream. She moved fast. Her knife flashed from under the cot, slicing across his cheek. He roared, hand to his face, stumbling back with a string of curses. She ran out the door, into the rain. Toward the bluff, toward Ghost. The wind howled behind her. Her chest burned. But she didn't stop, because tomorrow was no longer an option. Tonight she would ride. Asterisk. The sky bled fire as June mounted Ghost for the first time. Asterisk. Rain had slowed to a mist, but thunder still grumbled across the ridgeline. June's dress clung to her legs, soaked and torn, her knife still warm in her hand. Ghost shifted beneath, her wild muscles rippling, ears flicking toward every sound. He was nervous, but he trusted her. Asterisk. She gripped the halter and whispered, We ain't just running, boy. We're talking back what they tried to break. Asterisk. A single squeeze of her knees and Ghost bolted forward, hoofs pounding against wet earth like distant cannon fire. Asterisk. Behind them, the ranch exploded into motion. Asterisk. Deke's shouts cracked through the air, hoarse and furious. Dogs barked. Lanterns flared to life. The bunkhouse door flew open. Harlan stumbled into the yard, belt in hand, eyes wild. Asterisk. She's stealing my stock, he roared. Mount up. I want that girl back. Alive if possible. Asterisk. But June was already gone past the wheat fields, through the broken fence, riding hard toward the river basin. Each hoofbeat shattered something old. Ghost ran like he remembered every ancestor who had ever galloped free. Wind tore through June's hair. The moon blinked between clouds, lighting the trail in flashes. She didn't know where the path ended, only that it started now. Every tree she passed, Every fence she cleared, it all burned behind her like a bridge she'd never cross again. Asterisk, but freedom, as always, came with teeth. Asterisk, a bullet cracked through the air, close enough to whistle past her ear. June ducked low. Another one tore through the branches ahead. The riders were close, too close. She risked a glance back and saw Deke in the lead, rifle in hand. Blood crusted along the gash she'd carved into his cheek. Asterisk, "You're dead, girl," he bellowed. Asterisk, she kicked Ghost harder. "Faster, boy. Don't let him catch us." Asterisk, they reached the riverbank just as the land dipped and twisted. June veered left into the brush. Thick pine swallowed them, branches whipping at her arms, tearing skin. Ghost charged forward without hesitation, as if he'd always known the way. Asterisk, a sudden clearing opened, moonlight pouring down. Asterisk, then a gunshot. A scream. Asterisk, a horse behind them reared and fell. One of the ranch hands, maybe Levi, hit a low branch and tumbled off, his body rolling lifeless through the brush. Asterisk, it bought her seconds. Asterisk, she angled. Ghost toward the ridge above the canyon. The one Mama used to talk about. Said there was a path the natives once used, a ledge barely wide enough for a goat. But if she made it, she'd be on the other side of the basin. Into territory Harlan had no hold on. Another crack rang out. Pain seared through her side. Asterisk, she gasped, bit her tongue to keep from screaming. Blood soaked her dress. The bullet had grazed her ribs, maybe worse. Still, she held on. The ridge rose like a spine from the earth. Ghost didn't hesitate. He took the path, narrow and steep, hooves slipping but never stopping. Asterisk below. Deke skidded to a halt, staring up in disbelief. His horse reared. Asterisk, "You come back, June," he shouted. "Ain't no place for you out there. You're nothing without us." She turned in the saddle, chest heaving, rain dripping from her jaw. "I was nothing with you." Asterisk, then, for the first time in years, she smiled. Asterisk, Ghost reared, framed by moonlight, and disappeared over the ridge. Deke didn't follow. Couldn't. Asterisk, the land beyond the ridge was unclaimed, unbroken, unknown. Harlan's reach ended at that edge, and June had crossed it, but she was bleeding, her grip loosened. Ghost slowed, sensing her fading strength. The world tilted. June leaned into his neck, whispering, "Don't stop, boy, not yet." Asterisk behind her, no more gunfire. No hoofbeats, only wind, and freedom. Asterisk, June awoke to the sound of a stream and the steady rhythm of breathing heavy, alive, familiar. Her eyes fluttered open to the orange light of dawn breaking over a world she didn't recognize. Asterisk, Ghost stood just feet away, his black coat steaming in the morning chill, grazing near the water's edge. Asterisk, she lay beneath a lean-to of pine branches, wrapped in a buffalo hide blanket, her side bound with linen and herbal paste. The pain still pulsed, but it was dull now, manageable. Someone had tended her, not just someone. She sat up slowly, head spinning, and looked to the shadows beyond the trees. A man emerged, tall, dark-skinned, eyes wary but calm. Beside him, a girl not much younger than June carried a pot of water. Asterisk, "You're safe," the man said. "We found you by the ridge. Bleedin', barely breathing. That horse of yours wouldn't let us leave you behind." Asterisk, June blinked. "You patched me up?" Asterisk, he nodded. "You're lucky." Bullet passed clean through. "Fever came close to talking you, though." Asterisk, "Who are you?" Asterisk, "Name's Elias. We don't stay in one place long. Most call us ghosts, like your horse. But we just prefer to live where no man's law can chain us." Asterisk, June exhaled. Her voice cracked. "Thank you." Asterisk, "You don't owe thanks," Elias said, "but you do owe yourself something. A future." Asterisk, for the next 3 weeks. June healed. Asterisk, she learned to stitch hides, fish the rocky streams, ride bareback through timber without leaving a trail. Elias's people, freedmen, outcasts, runaways, lived by the old ways, hidden in the folds of the land. They took her in without question. No one asked where she came from. They only looked at her like she belonged. But peace has its price. One night, while staring into the firelight, June asked Elias, "What if he comes for me?" Asterisk, Elias didn't flinch. "Then he finds more than just you waiting." But Harlan never came, not because he'd given up. Asterisk, But because justice had caught up first, asterisk rumors trickled in from traders and drifters. Harlan's cattle had vanished in a lightning storm. Deke had turned reckless, drunk, and violent. He shot a deputy in Jasper and was hanged at sunrise. The ranch was torched by an angry crew of hands, unpaid and fed up. It was all gone, burned to ash, like the chains that once bound her, asterisk and June. She didn't go back, asterisk. Instead, she rode Ghost farther west past the buttes, through grasslands that hummed with bees and whispered with old spirits. She made her own name on the trail, broke wild horses for border towns, traded leather in mountain settlements. They called her the Ghost Rider's girl, but she was no one's girl anymore. Just June, free, asterisk. One day, while camping near a canyon edge, she found herself speaking aloud, soft but steady. Asterisk, you were right, mama. Ain't no rope strong enough. Asterisk. Ghost flicked his ear and stepped closer, pressing his nose to her shoulder like he understood. She looked to the stars above. It wasn't a fair world. It never would be, but it was wide, and it was hers now. Asterisk.